Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Momma Christine's podcast, Living Life Through Experience, where we talk about everything that I have experienced that maybe you are experiencing or know someone who is, and I can help you with that. We only learn about living life through our experiences from childhood all the way up until the end, and no matter what we've been through, we learn from everything and from everyone we meet. So, keep that in mind. So, here we go. We're going to pick a card like we always do and see where Spirit takes us. Here we go. Boom. Emotions. So, a lot of things go on with emotions, right? We have so many emotions. Good, bad, otherwise. Sometimes our emotions are high, sometimes they're low, but we always have these emotions every day happening to us. So, a lot of what you hear from people is, from some people you hear, oh, be positive, don't be mad, yes, it's best to do what you can to look at the positive side of things once you have processed your anger, your sadness, your disappointment, whatever it is. Because, I tell people all the time, I said, God gave us emotions. We have to use them, whether they're good or bad. And I don't even think any of them are bad. It's just a feeling, and we've talked about this before too, is a lot of what we go through is mostly feeling. It's not an attachment of something we own. So yes, when you get angry, it's a feeling that you're having. You're disappointed in something. You're angry at someone. Whatever it may be, you're sad about a situation. It's a feeling. Does it last forever? It should not. No. That's where we get stuck. Is a lot of people will hold on, and it's like, let it go. You're not going to get anywhere in life if you just keep holding on to those old negative emotions. You're only going to get more of it. And, you have every right to feel your emotions. That's something else that has happened through time is, especially with men, boys, men, you shouldn't cry. You shouldn't be sad. You got to be strong. You got to be courageous. You have to be the breadwinner. You have to be this. You have to be that. And it's like, but they're human just like women. So why can't they be sad? And I don't mean just at the death of a relative or a friend, but be sad for anything and cry if they need to. It's part of our emotions to cry, but society over the eons of time have changed that into it's a bad thing. So therefore, a majority of men cannot cry. And if they do it very quietly or very secretly. And they feel ashamed for doing so. And it's like, no, don't be ashamed. It's part of your emotions. So why not let those emotions show? Okay. Anger. I teach Reiki classes, and one of the principles of Reiki is just for today, I will not anger, which means just what it says, just for today. Because a lot of times what we do is we get angry about something and we carry it with us from day to day to day to week to month to year. And excuse me, nobody knows how to let it go. It's done. It's over with. We can't change it. So we might as well let it go. Do I like what happened? No. But there's nothing I can do at this point. I'm going to let it go because I am not going to carry this around with me for my whole life. Okay? And I think some people don't look at that. They always feel that need for satisfaction, for revenge, for proving a point. People have to know the truth. I'm like, the only people that need to know the truth is the one it happened to. So let it be. Let it be. Because again, people are only going to listen to what they want to listen to. They're only going to believe what they want to believe. So, somebody told me one time we were talking with friends, my sister and I, and they said, well, what's true? I said, well, it feels like to me that this is true. And he goes, well, what if the other one's true? I said, well, I guess that's a possibility. He said, there's always 3 solutions to every problem. right? left, or middle, meaning who's right. Because one has a truth from their perspective, the other one has a truth from their perspective, but yet there's only one actual truth. So again, we put perspective in the way of a lot of things as well. So it can get so like crazy and complicated, but it's real. Well, I guess it's really not, but let it go. It's really what it's all about is it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong, just let it go. And again, truth is only for the person it's about. I've had things happen to me in my past. I'm like, you know what? I know what my truth is. I don't have to go running out there to prove to people who said what, who did what. This is what happened. It's done. It's over. This is who I am. Like me, love me, hate me. I don't care. I'm moving on. Okay? But emotions run in many different directions. Not just, oh, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm, whatever. Emotions can go up and down and up and down. And I know today there's a lot of mental illness. So yes, you do see people with a lot of up and down energy all the time. But if someone is living, I'll say a normal life, no mental illness or whatnot, but yet their energy always seems to go up and go down and go up and go down. And it's like, what is going on with them? Sometimes people are just so stuck in their emotions, they don't know what to do with it. That's the crash. They go down. When they finally figure it out, then they come back up and they live life. And then until another incident happens, then down again. And they don't know what to do with their emotions. And that's the tough part, It's like work through them. The big question, how? How do I do that? How do I work through these emotions? One is deal with them. If you don't deal with them, they're always going to be there. Again, if I say you don't deal with something, you basically swallow it. It goes down the tunnel to that dungeon. You lock the door. You don't deal with it. And that's not good for anybody. Not for you, for the situation, not for your body, nothing. Not good for your emotions, your mental state, your physical state, nothing. Okay? So deal with your stuff. Is there going to be upsetness? Yes. Is it going to feel fearful? Yes. Do it anyway. If there's something that's going on and you're feeling like something isn't right, speak up and ask. Have the conversation. Have the openness to discuss something without yelling, without screaming, but with an open heart and an open mind. Process your emotions. If somebody is saying something to you that doesn't sound very nice to you, then let them know. Say, this is how I took it. Am I wrong? I just want you to know that when you said it, this is how I felt. And then you can have that discussion with that person. If something's going on and you're questioning things, then bring up the questions. Don't just sit there and stew in your energy and go, I can't believe how I'm feeling, and I can't believe, because if nobody knows what's going on in your brain, then how are they going to help? How are they going to answer the questions if they don't know? And many people are like, well, they should know. Yeah, well, maybe they should, but they don't. So sometimes we have to tell people how we're feeling. We have to express our emotions to these people, to the group, to work, to whatever it is. You know what I mean? But emotions, you've got to express them, So think about that as you go about your day. What's going on with your emotions? Are they in check? If they're not in check, why? And then figure it out. Do some journaling. That's a great way of clearing your emotions. Go for a run. I had a client today. She says when she goes for a run, it helps her to clear her head. So go for a run. Go to the gym. Punch a bag. Go for a walk. Meditate. But the journaling piece, that's one way to get it out if you don't do that other stuff. Just write it all down. Yell, scream, holler, swear. And I've talked about this a million times. And the reason why I keep doing it is because it works. It really, really works. So write this stuff down. Get it all out. You're not going to give it to the person. You're not going to bring it into the situation. You're just going to get it out of you. Then you can take it and you can burn it. You can bury it. You can do whatever you want with it. Or you can just continue writing until you feel like you've gotten everything out and then burn it all at once. Whatever works for you. But those are some ways that you can help yourself to feel better. So keep that in mind. Don't lose it. Okay. I want to pull another card because I'm feeling like this is how I'm being guided to talk tonight, is just by card, and it's whatever The divine wants you to know. So here we go again. We're going to split again. And this time, here we go. Love. Okay. So love, what does that mean? Love is love, right? Love is all there is. Love trumps everything. Okay. And first of all, love has to start right here. It starts with self. And we seem to forget that. And, we put our love into our spouse, our significant other, into our children, into our jobs, into our grandkids, into our pets, into our homes and our cars and our stuff. But we never put love here. If I say, what do you love about yourself? Do you ever really think of that and say, oh, I love this about myself? And a lot of people are like, I don't know. They have no clue on what they love about themselves. It could be anything. For example, when I think of myself, what do I love about myself? I love what I do. I love who I am as a coach, as a Reiki practitioner, as a person who guides others, helps people to heal. As far as a personal aspect of mine, I love my eyes. I don't know why, but I just do, and I still look in the mirror every day and I'm like, oh, hey, look at those eyes. For my age, I think I'm doing pretty well, and I love my eyes. I love my hair. My hair's been like this for years and years and I just love it. That's who I am. That's what I love about myself. I love the fact that I am as kind as I can be. I love the fact that I show up every day to try to do my best. And even if I slip up and don't, I make up for it. And I acknowledge when I don't. Those are pieces that I love about myself. Is that who I was 20 years ago? No. Over these 20 years, I have grown and I have learned and I have progressed. And everybody can do that. It takes time, but just knowing that you're doing your best is all that matters, So those are the things I love about myself. There's a bunch of other things in my life I love. My children, of course, and grandkids and, oh my God, the family's just getting bigger, which is fabulous. It really is. I love my work. I love my sister. I love, so many different, my pets. I have a dog. I have 2 cats and, I could go on and on and on. But what do you love? Start with yourself. Do you love yourself? Or are you someone who, I hate the way I look. I hate my weight. I hate my hair. I'm too tall. I'm too thin. I'm too fat. I'm too short. Are you always comparing yourself to someone else? If that is the truth, then you're not loving yourself. Loving someone else other than yourself, and loving yourself is not an egotistical thing. It's egotistical is when you love yourself so much that you push everyone aside so that you are front and center. That's ego, okay? Being happy with who you are, being in a good place in life, loving who you are, loving what you do, those kinds of things are not egotistical, so remember that. I know we're brought up to think that is, but no, it's not. So, when it comes to love in a relationship, okay, romantic relationships, what is love? Now, I'll be honest with you, I've been married twice, and for me, it was life lessons. Probably shouldn't have done it, but I did, and I know there's a reason I did, and there's a lot that I learned from both. From the second one, as much as it fell apart and was not a good thing, I have 3 great kids from that. So that's the one regret I don't have. I don't regret it at all. It is what it is. It taught me a lot. It made me grow as a person, made me see life a lot differently. And again, I got my 3 kids, so it's all good. But I look at life now and I look at relationships now and I say to myself, if that person truly loved that other person enough, they would drop what they're doing to make sure that person was okay. And sometimes I see where they don't do that. And it's like, there's excuses, there's this, there's that. And it's like, wow, I don't know. If I was worried about my other person and loved them to that point of like, they're my life, a part of my life, then I would be doing what I needed to do to make sure they were safe, they were okay, they had what they needed, because that's what they do. That's what romantic partners do for each other. But if you're going to let that other person just, I don't know, go about and do their thing without making sure they're okay, that doesn't make sense. You know, is that love? You know, my kids can do anything, right or wrong or otherwise, and I love them no matter what. You know, if they needed something, I'm there. If something happened, I make sure that I'm on that. Is it okay? Did you take care of things? Is, you know, whatever, to make sure they were okay. And sometimes I don't see that with people, and it's like, wow, okay, I understand today there's a lot of people who have relationships where they're very independent. It's kind of like me, you, and us kind of thing, which is fine. But again, that love is still there. It's not all about, oh gosh, the money, the materialistic stuff, the, you know, so on and so forth. It's about love. Loving someone enough to care for them, to know that if they're not safe, you make them safe. If they need something and they're shorthanded, help them out. You know, if they need money to get something and they don't have it and it's a necessity, then you give it to them. You know, and vice versa. It works in both ways. So it's like, it just, I don't know, kind of amazes me when I see people be way too independent, that the only thing that makes them married is a piece of paper. And it's like, where's the rest of it? You know, it's just through observation I've seen these things. So it's like, huh, okay. You know, and then of course you have love for friends. I mean, I have a best friend. We've been friends for 52 years. Yeah, so since childhood, you know what I mean? It's like, wow. So again, you know, at this point of our lives, I mean, she's got kids, she's got grandkids now, you know, and I'm busy with my business and she's working, and, you know, she helps her daughter with her business. And so it's like, we don't always get to see each other much, but when we do, we start right over where we left off. You know, we're always there for each other. So whatever it may be, we're always there. We always care. We always, it's the word I'm looking for, you know, inquire as to what's going on with them, you know. And in the flash of an eye, if I'm stuck and I'm like, oh my God, hey, I need you, she's right there, and vice versa. I do the same for her. So, you know, that's love. You know, love is a give and a take. It's, you know, it's doing something for someone and loving them for who they are, even when they screw up. You know, again, you know, if you've had kids, you know, you have kids, you know, you probably understand that. You know, your kids are going to do things as they're growing up that just like makes you want to roll your eyes and go, really? And, you know, my kids have made mistakes and things have happened, but I love them to death. It doesn't, what they did or what they went through does not define who they are as a person. That's where everybody lives life through experience. They're going to grow. They're going to do things. They're going to make things happen, you know? So it's, you love them no matter what, you know? It's, I know somebody who has a son who did something I would never even think of. And that woman loves her son to death, no matter what. Why? Because she understands what unconditional love is. Does she condone what happened? No. But does she love him because it's her son? She does. You know, there's a difference between drama and BS that you're like, nope, boundaries. Or someone who just understands who someone is and where they're coming from and what it means to love that person unconditionally. So, you know, love is a huge thing. Love for, oh my God, everything. And then, you know, let's move into love for a job, a purpose. Not even a job, I'll call it a purpose, because, you know, when I think of myself going to Sisters every day and doing coaching and readings and Reiki and ear seeds and whatever else I do, meditations. I mean, I'm like, I say I'm going to work, but it doesn't feel like work for me. You know, I'm doing something that I love, and I don't mind going every day. I really don't, you know, but again, it's my purpose and I love what I do, you know. they say if you're not doing what you love, then you're just working a job. And you're just working the job to make money to pay your bills. So why not find that one thing that you absolutely love and go do it? I mean, if you're already doing it, great. But if you're not, go after it. It's never too late. So I don't want to hear any excuses. I've heard those before. I'm too old. Oh, stop. I know people in their 90s, 80s have gone back to college, and people are saying, why? What's the point? Because they want to learn. Some people really enjoy learning. Not that they have to do something with it, but because they love to learn. So why not? You know, the rest of us sit around and go, I want to go to a paint night. I want to go learn Reiki. I want to go to a museum. I want to do this. We spend the money on all that stuff. They prefer to spend their money on school. So that's okay. That is their thing. That's what they love, right? So no matter what it is, go to it. You know, I always say to people sometimes, think about when you were a kid and the teacher said to you in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? What did you say? And are you doing that today, right? Most people say no, they're not. I can actually say that I am, just not in the sense that I thought. Because sometimes we take things very literally. And of course, at 9 years old, I wanted to be a teacher. And to me, you know, writing on the chalkboard was fun. Grading papers was fun. Getting to use a red pen, which was like, oh my God, so special. But I wanted to be a teacher. And I remember growing up thinking I hated school. I really did. I couldn't wait to graduate and just get out. And I'm like, I'm not going to be a teacher. I can't stand school. Why would I even think I wanted to be a teacher? And at this point, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I just kind of bounced around. I worked restaurants for 10 years. I worked retail. I did management. I was CNA for 5 years. Stayed home with my kids for 5 years. And then boom, I found Reiki. And needless to say, I'm a teacher because I teach Reiki. I teach intuition. I teach meditation. I coach and I teach, right? So, you know, sometimes you do end up doing what you said you were going to do, just not in the way you think. Because again, we take things so literally sometimes, you know, we really do. But again, I became a teacher anyway. And I'm just the only oddball in my family. Everybody else is an actual school teacher. My son is, my daughter is, my stepdaughter is, her husband is, my ex-sister-in-law is. I mean, there's a lot of teachers around. So, lots of teachers. And then me. So, it's all good. In fact, even my son is not just a school teacher. He's also a spin instructor, and he does a power class at our local health tracks, which is all about building up muscle and toning the body and things like that. So again, he's teaching something else too. So he enjoys teaching as well. He really does. But as we move on to more about love, they say there's only 2 emotions in this world. There really is. When you break it down, there's only 2 emotions. There's love and there's fear. Love is always there. We let the fear creep in, and you have to push the love to the fear to get rid of it. Fear is nothing more than a nervousness that's heightened. Okay? So I've had a few clients this week, and one of them today was explaining that they were starting a new job on Monday, and they're kind of nervous about it. But that was it. Then I've had other people say, oh my God, I got a new job and I'm so scared. Oh my God, I hope it's okay. And it's like, whoa, breathe, breathe, breathe. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. But love and fear, your 2 basic emotions. And, you know, so even if you're nervous, it runs under fear. If you're angry, it comes out of fear. If you're sad, it comes out of fear. If you're in judgment, you're in fear. If you're peaceful, you're in love. Right? If you're tranquil, if you're have serenity, if you have balance, that all comes under love. So, you know, it's like those are the 2 titles, and then you have all your subtitles below. And it's really what it is. It's either you live in love or you live in fear. You say, well, anger is not fear. Well, it is, because you're getting angry over something you can't control. That's really what it's about. Something happens and it makes you angry, which is a person's response to, I can't control this situation. It's not coming out the way I wanted it to. So that comes under fear. So next time you're feeling that way, say, do I really want to be in fear, or do I want to be feeling of love? Pick love. Love is important. Love is very important. Okay? So this card kept popping up as I split the deck. Both times I split the deck, this was always on the opposite side. The activist. Now, of course, this is Mother Teresa, the biggest activist in the world that we know today. So what does that mean for you? It means that no matter what you want in life, you need to be your own activist. You need to work on your emotions. You need to find love in your heart. You need to go after what you want. You need to do the work, because nobody's going to do it for you. You want things to change? Be your own activist. Make change. If you want to acquire something, be your own activist. Work towards getting it. And that's what happens. I think, in some cases, not all, I say, as a society, we have gotten lazy. And we just want for things because we want them, or we want for things and don't know how to get them, so we just hope maybe somebody will give it to us or show us where it is so we don't have to do the work. And that's not how it is. You need to be the activist. You need to stand up, make the choices, make the decisions, do the research, go after whatever it is you're looking for, whether it is relationships, friendships, jobs, opportunities, travel, I don't care, whatever. I can tell you that of all the things I have manifested in these past 20 years, I have put out there, yes, this is what I would like. These are my details. Help me out. I have always followed through with research, paying attention to my intuition, paying attention to signs, and following the synchronicities. Okay? And I have found where I needed to be. So, be your own activist. Live in love. Don't live in fear. Embrace your emotions and then release the negative emotions, because they're not going to serve you a purpose any longer. It's something you need to feel, but then you need to process, and then you need to release. This way you make room for all the positive emotions, the happiness, the joy, the tranquility, the comfort, the serenity, oh my God, there's so many, right? There's so many. The worthiness, whatever, the love. That's what we acquire. That's why we work so hard, is to achieve that. That's really what we're trying to achieve. Is life going to be perfect? Oh God, no. It never is. It never is. But you know what? You adjust your sails. If you're going through the rough waters, adjust your sails. If you need to drop your sails until the winds calm down, then do that. Sometimes when life hits you, you need to stop and sit back and let things unfold, and then go, okay, now we can do something about this. Or now I can make the change I need to change. Whatever it may be. But you just have to have the confidence to do it. And a lot of times I know we don't have that confidence, and it's scary. And what if it doesn't work? What if I'm wrong? What if you follow your guidance, follow your intuition, trust that they're helping you, believe in yourself, everything will be fine. It truly will be fine. We're the ones who, again, choose the fear over the love. Again, I tell people all the time, I said, if I spent all my time living in fear versus love, when it came to doing Reiki and all these things that we started 20 years ago, I wouldn't be doing that I wouldn't be doing that now. I don't know what I'd be doing. But I felt so strongly about it. I'm like, I've got to do this. It feels right. And it was. Pushing almost 20 years now, it was the right thing to do. It definitely was. And how did I know? Because, and this has been coming up all week, here we go, signs from above. The signs are there. God, the universe, the creator, your angels, your guides, your loved ones, they show you signs all the time. Pay attention, okay? I have so many stories, and I'm sure you've heard some of my stories because I've done manifesting talks and whatnot. I've manifested so many things in my life, I lost count. But it's because I followed the guidance. I followed the signs. I followed my intuition. It just is what it is. I made a commitment to myself, like, this is what they're telling me. This is what I'm going to do. Is it scary? Yes, I'm going to do it anyway. And again, it works. It works out. If it's not the right thing, you'll know it. Everything will just feel completely off. Everything will be completely off. Again, your intuition is always on point. It really, really is. We just have to trust it. So here's a challenge for you. Get a notebook, a piece of paper, whatever. Every time you have an intuitive thought, feeling, or sense, write it down. Then decide whether or not you want to follow through with it. Either way, it's going to show you. Yes, I followed through. I was right. No, I didn't follow through. I should have. Okay? This way you get to see. It's in front of you, written down. You're keeping track. And you'll find that every time you've gotten a hit, an intuitive sense, a gut feeling, whatever it may be, you know to follow it. So that's the best way I can say you can learn to trust and believe in what it is that you need, what you want, what they're trying to tell you, is by trusting and believing. Truly, 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 truly. So there you go. Vision. What is your vision? As of right now, listening to all these things, it's like, okay, so what do I want? What do I want in life? I want to be happy. I want to have purpose. I want to live in love, not in fear. I want to be able to feel my emotions and not feel embarrassed by it. I want to feel my emotions and be able to speak to someone and tell them how I'm feeling, whether it's good, it's bad, or whatever. You know what I mean? You should be able to have that open communication, open heart, open mind, right? All those things that we want to feel, So yes, I want to work on my emotions. I want to live in love. I want to fight for what I want, okay? I want to have confidence in myself. You have confidence by doing. Once you start doing, you start realizing, like, I got this, right? Paying attention to my signs. So what is my vision? What is my vision? So think about that. Right now, my vision, I know I have some things I want to do and things I believe are coming up for me soon, but it's like it's not time. I don't feel like the need to jump on it just yet. And of course, timing is everything. So you may want something really bad, but yet it's not time. But if you try to force it and make it happen now, it's going to fall apart and then you're going to be disappointed. And I don't want you to be disappointed. So feel it in your gut that now is the time to jump on this. And if it's wrong, it'll stop you. One way or the other, it will stop you. Doesn't mean it can't happen again, but it won't happen until it's the right time. Timing is everything. And the patience, a little bit of patience goes a long way. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm so tired of waiting. I'm like, but you got to realize this planet is the only place where there's an actual clock that ticks and tells you what time it is. There's no time anywhere else. But again, we put ourselves in these positions where we feel the need that we need to know what time it is and we need to know how long it's going to take and So the other side doesn't have time. So when they say you'll have it soon, it's when it's the appropriate time for it to fall into place. So sometimes they make you wait to teach you patience. So be patient. I know it's not a human strength, but we have to learn it. We really have to learn it. So moving on from there, again, the last thing I want to bring to you is whatever you're trying to do in life, no matter if it's manifesting new things, creating new things, working on you, understand that everything is progress, slow and steady progress. Again, like I said, I've been doing this for just about 20 years now as a business. And it's taken me all of that to be who I am today, and from the glorious mouth of my granddaughter, I've been asked who I am. And I really can't tell you who I am because I am ever changing. In this moment, I am 13 years old, and this is who I am. And this is who I'm connected to, and this is what I love. But I can only tell you that from my perspective of right now. Now, talk about the mouth of babes, as they say. I was like so floored when I heard her in her little speech that she had, and I was like, wow. From a 13-year-old. I'm like, but she's so right. She is so right. So when people say, well, who are you? Right now, this is who I am. Who I might be tomorrow or next week or next month or next year, I don't know until I get there. Because we are ever changing. Nothing stays the same forever. So keep that in mind. Everything is slow and steady progress. So whether it's learning to heal, learning to become more positive, more spiritual, more like-minded, right? Whether it's learning to be in love more than fear, whether it's learning to speak up, whatever it may be, it takes time and it's progress, day by day progress. And with patience and with an open mind and an open heart, you can get to anywhere you want to be and live your life the way you want to live it. I can tell you in this moment, right here, right now, today, I am in a great place. I'm right where I feel I need to be in this moment. Will it change? Of course it will. But right now, I am enjoying my life. I'm enjoying my work. I'm enjoying my vacations, my travel, friends. I'm enjoying it. And this is who I am, and this is where I am right now. So come back and see me in a year and see where things go. You never know. But life is ever changing. Remember that. And as you work on you and you work on your own life and struggles and emotions and whatever you need to work on, you'll notice that in time you will change. So maybe tonight after you're done watching, not just, writing letters to the ethers about everything you're upset about. How about writing, like, getting a page and putting the date on it? And it's like, you can address it any way you want. No address, or you can say, Dear Universe, Dear God. Or write yourself a letter. Dear Christine, I want you to know that today, on October 23rd of 2025, this is who you are. And start writing everything down. Write a letter to yourself. And write down who you are today. And then you know what? Try it again in 6 months. And then 6 months after that. And do it in intervals of 6 months. And then after you have a few, go back to the very first one and go, wow, that's who I was then. Look who I am now. You will see a difference. You will definitely see a difference. So again, steady progress. Things take time. Nothing happens in a blink of an eye. This is not a magic show, okay? It'd be nice if we could just wave a wand, snap our fingers, whatever it may be, and be in the perfect place. But life is not perfect. This world is not perfect. So all we can do is be perfectly imperfect and do our best. And that's what I wish for you. To do your best, to live your life, be happy, and when you're not happy, fix it. And that is where I'm going to leave you. So there's some things you can think about, some things that you can do at home. But definitely that letter to yourself, I would definitely do that. Just so you can see who you are as time goes by. So I'm going to leave you there. This is Mama Christine signing off for this week. I hope to see you again next week. Have a wonderful evening. And remember, patience, open mind, open heart. Have a great one.